Okay, all right. So we're live. This is BK Hobby. Just gonna wait for a few people to show up. Hey, Cyber Ice is here. Good evening. Still stuck from there. Oh, I bet you had a good steak. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Um, by the way, can you let me know if my sound is okay? My audio is fine. Neil Wrightson just ate lunch, huh? That's the cool thing about this YouTube thing, right? Everyone's all over the world. We're all sharing the same interests. A little low. Okay. Let me try adjusting mic without giving you guys too much noise. But yeah, definitely nice to have viewers from all over the world, and nice to share these hobbies together with everyone. Makes it a little hard to schedule things like this, a live stream. I wanted to do it, like a Saturday morning or something, just so more people could participate live. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because, well, I'm going away for the weekend, so I won't be able to do it tomorrow. But figured on Friday night I'll record this live stream. I'll make it available afterwards, so we will have the probably links throughout the video just to go over the different topics, and hopefully people find that more informative and easier to get around, depending on how long the live stream is. So, okay, we got a few people, so I think I'll get started so we can kind of go over basically what we're going to talk about today. I kind of set up a little script, or a little schedule of what I want to talk about. Obviously, the main topic is mosquito. So, if you're familiar with the MQTT binding or version 1, let me switch over to the proper screen. Okay, so with openHAB switching from version 1 to version 2, there was a lot of changes to the components and the ID, the concepts behind the openHAB system. And actually, let me go to the screen I want to show you. Originally, there was no such thing as a thing, right? Thing is a concept that was introduced in version 2.0. Oh, Charlie's online. Hey, Charlie, long time no see. I think you're on my first live stream, so I'll try to acknowledge you guys as you get in chat. I'm gonna take a look at chat every now and then, but for the most part, I'll try and make these. I'll try to talk about the topics mostly. Just try not to get distracted. But yeah, so essentially in openHAB version 1, there was no such thing as a thing, right? Thing is an object that was introduced in openHAB version 2, and it allows basically allows us to represent every device in the system with its own object. Every device has channels. These channels are things like volume control, lights, like light intensity, volume, basically anything that's controllable via openHAB, or anything that's controllable on the device, or anything that pertains to the status of the device is a channel, right? And those channels could be things like numbers, number data like temperatures, percentages, or text, right? Depending on what you're sending, or what your thing is expecting to receive. So, because this was introduced in version 2 of openHAB, every binding that was not upgraded to version 2 was still stuck in this version 1 realm. Basically, everything was either an item, or every component was an item, right? That made things a little weird when you were using some bindings from version 2 and you're still using bindings from version 1. The definition, well, let me bring up a configuration so I can show you this. So this is my home. This is my configuration. Before I go on further, I kind of wanted to show you one thing that I did recently. I actually ended up sharing my entire configuration for openHAB on GitHub. Obviously, I hid things like passwords, API keys, and any other things that are specific to my identity or my accounts. So all those things are hidden, but the GitHub repository does have everything that we're going to talk about today, everything I've talked about in my previous videos for openHAB Basics. All that configuration is stored on this GitHub page. So all the items, all the rules. So if you've ever seen my posts on the community forums, I post a lot of the rules and different things that I've kind of done with openHAB over the years, and all those rules are also stored here on this GitHub repository. So yeah, so if you ever want to take a look at this GitHub repo, I'll post a link to it. Actually, I'll copy in the chat here too. And basically, going through my configuration, these are my home items, right? So let me show you an example of what I meant when I was talking about the difference between version 1 and version 2 bindings, right? So version 2 bindings like this HVAC battery state, right? This is a version 2 binding configuration, version 2 item configuration. It has the item name, the type, the label, the group it belongs to, and this binding configuration here, this link here is linked to the channel, right? So the channel, which again is a version 2 concept, is defined here within the item binding configuration. So it kind of abstracts the idea of the thing from the item. The item is the thing that, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Item is not a thing. Item is an object. Again, it's hard to say this without confusing the matter more. An item is a state storage, right? It stores the state within openHAB. A thing is the object that represents the actual device, right? So the device has channels. Those channels are linked to your items, and the item, through that link, interacts with the channel on the thing, with sending it data and receiving data from the thing. So I hope that makes it a little bit clearer. Okay, so now that we have that kind of, I think, behind us, so the channel configuration here is a version 2 binding configuration. You're linking the item to the channel on the thing, right? And this is the thing, Z-Wave. I'm sorry, this is the thing definition, the Z-Wave binding, and then the device, and in my case, this would be a Z-Wave node. So that's node 7, and then the channel, basically battery level, right? So this is the actual, this whole thing is the channel definition, but this is the specific channel description of battery level on Z-Wave node 7. So going back to version 1, we didn't have this concept of a channel or a link, so or a thing, I'm sorry, or a thing. So the link was basically a direct link to the binding. So in case of Mosquito, which up until recently, up until version 2.4, up until David Graff, I'm probably butchering his name, Graff, he's on the forums, until he rewrote that binding from version 1 to version 2, we basically had this legacy definition of legacy version 1.0 definition of the mosquito binding. So the item was connected from, to the number type directly to the MQTT version 1 binding, and then this was your definition for things like, well, I mean, the channel definition was somewhat confusing, right? Because you had the input channels and the output channels. Let me show you one of those. This on-off switch over here, basically you had the output command, and then you had the input state, all defined in one item definition using the MQTT version 1 binding. The other thing that was specific to MQTT version 1 is this config file. And I know I read a comment on one of my videos today about, why don't I have this config file? So this config file, this MQTT.cfg file, is specific to the version 1 binding. So you had basically, you have to define the broker URL and the client ID, and if you wanted to, some of the other things, all within this config file. Okay, so the important things are, you had a config file for the version 1 binding, you had no channels, and all the input and output channels were defined in one item, right? Okay, so let's do this. Let me show you basically what happens with the change over to MQTT version 2. So obviously we defined the thing now, right? We have the concept of the thing, and with version 2, there are a couple new things with the binding, right? So before I show you those things, first let's go and install the binding, right? So I have two paper UI windows open here. This is my actual production home automation system, and then this is just a test Raspberry Pi, and this is the one I've been using for all my videos for just kind of installing the Pi from scratch, installing openHAB from scratch. So I just want to show you on this one, because I still haven't installed the binding on this one. So we'll go to add-ons and find the MQTT binding. Oh, sorry, I'm on wrong window. Okay, bindings. Okay, now I'm going to search for MQTT. And what you will see, what you'll notice is that you can no longer install the version 1 binding, right? So that version 1 binding was replaced by version 2. This confused a lot of people, right? Because when you upgraded to openHAB 2.4, that brought in this version 2.0 binding and removed the version 1 binding from this window, right? So unless you knew that you had to go to the system configuration and click this include legacy binding item. Now if I do that and go back into add-ons, and I'll search for MQTT now, there we go. I still have the ability to install either the 2.5 version, or in this case 2.4 version binding, or the original legacy MQTT 1 binding. Okay, so the good news is, if you select that item and if you still have a lot of version 1 items for version 1 configuration, you can run these side by side. So I can install the version 1 binding and I can install the version 2 binding. So in this case, I'll install both of them. And this is not the way I usually install things. You'll know that I usually go to my add-ons config file, and well, let me show you that right now. Right here in my add-ons config file, I have the two MQTT bindings installed side by side. So cool. just check the chat while we're here. Cool. Kenneth Iverson, hi. Kenneth. We got people from excuse me, we got people from Australia, Texas. I know Cyber ISO is from East Coast here. So cool. Kind of good representation of both hemispheres already. So going back to the configuration, we have all the both bindings for MQTT version 1 and 2.0 installed. Right, this is my production system. This one is still installing. Let me go back, and it's kind of why I don't really trust Paper UI in this case, because, well, there it is. It didn't refresh on its own. You basically have to refresh it yourself. But it's installed. Now I have both the version 2 binding and the version 1 binding installed. So this is my testing system, so you know this won't really matter. You know, on my production system I had both of these bindings already installed anyway. I just wanted to show you how you would be able to install the version 1 binding if you still needed to, and if it was deleted when you move to openHAB 2.4. So yep, Utah checking in. Hey Dustin, Norway. Okay, cool. Representing the whole world. Perfect. So yeah, so basically, okay. Let me answer this question, Caden. Will you be making a new video on the NodeMCU Cube LEDs for version 2.0? Yes, I will be. I will be updating all the devices to 2.0. Really, with the LED strip, there's specific issues I want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about them later on in this live stream for why I haven't updated the configuration for version 2, for the version 2 binding for the LED strip yet. But that's a good segue. I'll keep that in mind, Caden. And yes, I will be eventually updating everything to version 2.0. I'm going to be updating all my. Let me show you this. Actually, let me show you the overhead. I'll be updating Cube to ESP Easy proper. I know I've already mentioned that on my GitHub repo that I'm no longer really supporting the firmware that I originally wrote for this. So I've been using ESP Easy myself, and it's nice. It's very flexible with the configuration, and it supports the OLED very quickly, without too much effort. So I'll be making a video on how to upgrade these to ESP Easy. This one will stay with the firmware that I have on it right now, but I will update the configuration in openHAB to handle MQTT v2. So cool. All right, so let's go back. Let me see. Get my bearings here. Binding install. Okay, so go back to my testing unit. Yep, the testing Raspberry Pi. So on this one, we just installed, forget about MQTT v1 at this point. We're not even going to look at that one anymore. But we just installed MQTT binding version 2. So this is how you would be normally starting if you were bringing your configuration over to the version 2 binding, right? So we'll go to inbox and we'll try to add, we basically have to add a thing for two things, or at least two things. One of them is going to be the MQTT broker thing, and the other, and the rest basically are going to be your MQTT devices. Again, the idea here is that in version 2 openHAB, every device, every unit in your openHAB system is a thing. So whether you have a Hue light bulb, that's a thing. The Philips Hue bridge that stores all the light bulbs is also a thing. in the same manner, every device that is controlled via MQTT is a thing, but the MQTT broker itself is also a thing. So that's one important concept you have to understand, and I'll show you why in a second. So going back to my inbox, well, let's start over. Go into my inbox, got the MQTT thing binding, right? So now we're gonna basically add a thing for the broker. Of course, auto discovery only works if you have a certain type of mosquito devices on your network. Those being the home assistant devices that follow the home assistant mosquito protocol, and Homey version 3.0 devices, which is a protocol from MQTT. So in order to add the broker, I need to manually add the thing. So when I click that button, now I have 5 types of things to add. So the one thing that I'm going to be using a lot is generic MQTT thing, right? This is going to be my thing type for every LED strip, every sensor, every SONOFF switch, or every device that, again, is a device in my home automation system is going to be a generic MQTT thing, unless I had a home assistant component or a Homey device. Now for the broker. There's 2 options here, right? And they're kind of confusing because you can either add an MQTT broker or a system MQTT broker. I'm going to say right now, don't click the system MQTT broker. If you followed most of the default installation tutorials out there, including my tutorial, they're going to have you install a mosquito broker either directly on your Raspberry Pi or somewhere else on your network. So you're going to have an external broker for mosquito. If you click on the system MQTT broker, that assumes that you have a system broker defined within openHAB. And you can do that, but that's pretty much at this point, that's non-standard configuration. So I don't think you want to do that, because you will be doing something that's non-standard, and probably, you know, in the future it may work that way, but just easier not to confuse yourself. So let's add MQTT broker, which is a connection to an external broker. Okay. So once you click that, now we just have to add the thing for the broker. The only parameter that really matters here is the IP address or the host name of the mosquito broker. In my case, I installed the broker the broker is installed on my device, on my Raspberry Pi. So in this case, I would type in 127.0.0.1, basically localhost. You can also type in directly, you can type in directly the IP address of the MQTT broker on your network. So let's say, in my case, the mosquito broker that I want to use is on the production Raspberry Pi. That's where all the devices are connected to. That's where I know I'm going to have messages coming to. So I'm going to use that one as the device IP. So I'll add it. And there it is, MQTT broker. It's already online, so that means it's connected. So now I have a thing definition for the mosquito broker. I'll click on it, and right off the bat, you're going to see that there is no channels on it, right? You have to add a channel to it. The thing about the channels that you add here, you can only add publish trigger channels here on the broker thing, and you don't necessarily want to use that one. Publish triggers are a specific kind of channel device for Mosquito. You can use them, but again, this is the broker. The broker itself is not necessarily going to have a Mosquito topic that you're going to define. The broker is going to act as the storage device, the bridge to all of your other Mosquito devices on the network. So I'm going to cancel that for now. And instead, I'm going to go back to the inbox, and I will add the generic MQTT thing. So this is my device thing that I want to add to the openHAB configuration. So generic MQTT thing, and again, this is the thing that's going to define a device on my network. So either it'll either be the cube sensor, the LED strip, or any other type of device that you have, the on-off switch, or whatever you have running on the network. First, we want to select the bridge, and in this case, that MQTT broker thing that we added is our bridge. We'll add it. I kind of named it MQTT. I want to go back and change the name, obviously. So let's call it, start with an easy one, right? So the cube sensor laundry, right? That's going to be, that's the sensor that I have running here on my desk right now. So there it is, cube sensor laundry. Okay. And now you want to add the channels to this cube sensor. So the channels on this MQTT generic thing are going to be your input and output channels that correspond to the topics that this device publishes. So I'm going to need to add a channel, right? And I will need to define the type of channel that this is going to be. Again, I can, like you saw on the item definition before, you could have text values, number values, percentages. It could be a switch thing and a contact, color, RGB, hue, saturation, brightness. There's different types of, basically every channel corresponds to an item type, right? So I know in my case this is going to be a number value because it'll be temperature. Channel ID is basically what I will call this. This is the what this channel corresponds to. In this case, because it's a cube sensor, I'm going to have a couple channel IDs. I'm going to have whatever data the sensor provides, either temperature, humidity. In some cases, I have motion sensors hooked up to it. So in this case, let's just start with temperature. Now the label is how the channel is going to be labeled in Paper UI. So again, I'll just type in a properly cased temperature word, and these two, and then basically in this part of the configuration, you have the ability to set the state topic or the command topic. In my case, I'm only going to be, with the sensor, I'm only receiving data, so I'm only going to set the state topic. And this is where I want to show you some of the tools that I use for figuring out how to get that topic, right? I mean, provided I set the configuration correctly in ESP-Easy or in my firmware that I uploaded to the cube sensor, I should know this already. But if I don't, or if I have some devices on my network that I'm not entirely sure what topics they're publishing to, there's this awesome tool. There's this pretty awesome tool from Thomas Nordquist. This is a pretty new tool. I think it was just published, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. He's continuously working on it, and it's called MQTT Explorer. There's the GitHub site for it, and I'll post the link to it as well. So MQTT Explorer, let's go back first. Let me make sure that let's see. Yep, okay. So MQTT Explorer basically connects to your MQTT broker, and it lists hierarchically, I can't say that word right now, in the hierarchical order, it lists all the topics that are connected to that broker. So you can drill down basically and see every topic or every device or every topic on that device within your MQTT broker. So this is a super useful tool. I mean, before I used this, I used a couple other ones. None of them were easily, none of them showed my MQTT broker status in such an easy to follow way. You know, like none of them showed this hierarchy of everything that's on my broker. And I mean, I don't know if you're seeing the life changing on the right. Basically, as soon as I hover over a topic, the payload is parsed out. If it's JSON, it's nicely formatted, and you know, it even tells me what type of data string, integer, or you know, basically the data type that's stored within that JSON string. It'll tell me whether the topic is retained, and if it is retained, I can actually click the X on it, and it will delete that retained topic. So I can clear out retained topics on my broker and make sure that my devices are still communicating. So getting back to what we were looking for, right? We have a cube sensor on the broker, and I'm trying to find out what topic it's publishing the temperature to, right? So obviously we were looking for the laundry device, so home, laundry, temperature, and as soon as I do that, I have the topic right here, right? Home / laundry / temperature. If I click on history, it will actually show me a graph of the previous values that were published to that topic. If it was a command topic, I could actually publish a value directly to it right now. But in this case, I'm just looking for the topic ID. So I'm going to copy that to clipboard, go back to my paper UI configuration, paste it in, and save the channel. Okay. Yep, and of course I think I need to refresh, go back into it. Yep, there we go. So now I have the temperature channel on my cube sensor, right? Again, this is one device, doesn't necessarily have one channel. I know I have multiple ones, so I'm going to go ahead and add another channel with the number value. This one's going to be humidity. And I want lowercase for the channel ID because that's what I'm going to use in my configuration. Label is something that I'm going to read, so I want it uppercase. And then going back here, click on the humidity topic, copy that to the clipboard, paste it into the channel configuration, and hit save. And then we'll refresh. And now you see I have the two channels that are defined for my cube sensor. In this case, I only have the temperature and humidity sensors hooked up to it. So that's one thing, right? I mean, I need to do this for every device on my MQTT broker. So as you can see, I have a few of them. I have about 10 or 15 LED strips. I have probably just as many cube sensors. I have the two HASP devices from Luma. which are amazing, by the way. If you haven't seen the videos for that, I love these things. I use them for pretty much all my scene control and status information in the two rooms that they're installed in. And then, I have things like Sonoff switches. These I'm just playing with really for testing. So yeah, so for each of these devices, I'm going to need to create a thing, right? And once I'm sorry, yeah, I'm going to need to create a thing, and then I'm going to need to create a channel for each of the input and output topics that are published by that device. So let's I'll take a break here. Let's see, just swing back, look over to the chat. I guess am I making sense? Like, is everything pretty easy to follow at this point? Kenneth asks, what kind of smart home stuff do you have in your home? Definitely a lot of these sensors that I built myself. A lot of Hue light bulbs and GE Link light bulbs that I use basically in my Hue bridge for light control, HVAC control, and pretty much, I mean, everything's controlled via Google Home. So I have all those things defined as well. The Chromecast devices, whole house audio. I have a monoprice whole house audio amplifier in my network rack here in the basement, and then that distributes audio throughout my house. I think everything I can think of right now. I'm still trying to figure out how to do things like the blinds controls and want to do a little more with my HVAC, like looking at the status of the HVAC system and controlling it a little bit better. So yeah, cool. I hope I'm not boring you guys with this. I hope this isn't too basic, but like I'm trying to make this in such a way that it's easy to follow for for everyone, not only the seasoned veterans. So cool. All right, thank you, Duster. Duster. Sorry. Going blind. Okay, so let's keep on going, right? So next thing we probably want to do is, yeah, I think I want to do the Sonoff device, right? Because the Sonoff device has two kinds of topics, right? It has the input topic for the current status of the device, but it also has an output topic for power control. So we're gonna have two different things going here. Let's add all these devices in, and then we'll look at controlling them. So let's go back to inbox, adding a generic MQTT thing, and I'm going to call this one Sonoff 1. Actually, I'm going to call it what they are. These are the Susie SA102 switches. Cool. Oh, chat's a little more active. I have Philips Hue, Echo Dot, Google Home, Ring Doorbell. I have a Nest Doorbell too. I forgot about that one. Harmony, Samsung Robot Vacuum, Sonoff Basics, and some DIY sensors. My own Cube copy. Awesome, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of easy to start with the sensors and the lights and audio, right, and then you move on from there. And there's so many things that could be automated in the house. Some of them are kind of probably not necessary to automate at this point. do you have the Google Home desktop device? So yes, I do. I have the, let me think of the name, Lenovo, the Lenovo 8-inch display. I got that one on Black Friday. It was the same price as the Google Home Hub, but it does have a camera, which is manually or physically, what's it called? You have a physical lock on it, so you can disable it physically, cover it. But the ability to have video calling with Google Duo is pretty nice. So my parents have one, and we have one, so we use it to call each other using video, using Google Duo. Cool. All right, so getting back to this, Susie, adding a Susie switch, right? So location, I'm going to select the bridge, again, MQTT broker, added the device, and I need to find it now. There we go. Okay, so now for the device, I'm going to have, well, actually, let's see what kind of channels I need for this, right? So I have my two Sonos right here, and I think these might not be it. These might not be the ones I'm looking for. Yes. Might not have set them up yet with these. Because these Sonos, I have separate Sonos, and then I have, let me show you. I have these that I literally just yesterday used to convert to switch over to Tasmota. So if you haven't heard about that yet, that's kind of a cool segue and cool little sidebar. Basically, these guys sent me a couple of these plugs, right? The round ones, and then I went out and bought these because I thought they were better. So these Susie plugs actually have a you know, they're controlled by the Tuya app, right? So you have that whole Wi-Fi cloud thing going. So you have to control them using the phone app, going through their cloud. Instead of doing that, I end up converting them to Tasmota, and with the latest development of Tuya Convert, DigiBlur DIY has a really great video on that. You can basically convert these to Tasmota now without having to take them apart, without having to solder any wires to them. You just basically set up a Raspberry Pi or set up a virtual machine and simulate the firmware server on these, and you can get these over the air updated to Tasmota. So it's a game changer, right? Because like basically you used to have to take these apart, and I'll show you, a couple examples of what happens with that. Like, I mean, one of these I kind of destroy while taking it apart. Like, this thing doesn't work anymore because I was just trying to get to the pins on the ESP chip, and in order to do that you have to pull the PCB off, and while I was pulling the PCB off, I probably ended up breaking a trace or something, and this thing doesn't work anymore. So rather than having to do that, and just taking this thing apart is a pain, so you no longer have to do that. Right now you can just go to go with Tuya Convert, or go to DigiBlur's site, DigiBlur's channel, and watch this video on that. It's very interesting, very quick and easy, and at the price that these go for, at $9 a piece, you get a Tasmota device for really cheap and with a really easy conversion. So that, on that side note, let me think. So rather than go through, I'm trying not to keep you guys too long, and I'm trying not to bore you with this. So yeah, so add a link to the plugs. Yes, yes, Charlie, I can definitely do that. Sure. So these, hopefully, let's see. So I prefer these. I recommend these over the other round kind, because these actually have the power monitoring feature. So you can actually get the power draw, the current draw, and voltage on your outlet using these. The other ones do not, and they're only a couple bucks more expensive per 4. So yep. Do want to show you guys something real quick with this. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to try to get these get these plugs connected to a broker real quick so I can show you what I'm talking about. Well, for some reason I can't get them connected. Okay, anyway, yeah, that's I thought I prepared myself. I thought I configured these fully. I must not have. So 15 amp, yeah, that's right, Cyber. Yeah, 15 amps for these, or I think there might even be 16 amps. Yeah, so definitely a better deal. Definitely more features, and still, again, for $9 a piece, you get power monitoring and Tasmota on your device. So, okay, so going back to, kind of lost my place. Okay, all right, so I have to add the channel for these smart plugs, but because I don't have these configured, I'm going to bring over one of the ones I do have configured. I have a Sonoff S31. Right. All right, so let me go back and show you. So just for comparison, this is a Sonoff S31. Probably twice the price of these, same features. 15 amp, power monitoring, and and obviously you can put Tasmota on this one as well. But for the price difference, it's kind of a no-brainer to go with these here. Now that we have actual easy conversion of them. Cool. All right, so let's switch back over to MQTT Explorer, and now, yep, they're both online. I think one of them's, yep, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So state sensor, I know one of these. Let me think. Command, right? So let me just try this before I go ahead and do it. No, I know one of these was, oh, I'm sorry, tele, not tele. I don't want tele, I want command. That's the one. That's the topic I'm looking for. Okay, so copy that into here. Yep. And as soon as I did that, if I click off, toggles. Okay, so just to show you, that's the S31 plug here. If I send an on command to that topic, I'm getting it to toggle on, and off works the other way, right? Cool. So I know this is my command topic for the plug. So let's do that. So I'm going to copy this topic that I was just using to cycle the plug on and off, and I'm going to create, I think it was a switch topic. I think I need a switch topic for this. I'm not positive though, so it might be, yep, on off switch. There we go. Okay, so the channel ID is going to be your, what do we want to call this one? Let's say power, right? And the topic I'll copy into this. Oh, I'm sorry. So again, this is the difference, right? I mean, kind of have to know what text box to type things in. So the command topic is where I'll send my on-off command to, and the state topic is status. Here we go. Status, power, and I'll copy that into the power topic here. I'm sorry, the state topic goes into the status, and the command topic goes into the command topic text box. So I think everything's good here. We're hit save, and now we have our power topic, power channel on the Susie, well, we call it Susie Switch. Really, we should rename that. Rename it to what it actually is. So Sonoff S31. Okay. So going back to our things, we have the Sonoff S31. It's online. We have our MQTT broker and the cube sensor, right? So what's left? The only device that we haven't added yet, the thing we haven't added the device for, is the LED strip. And this was the segue that I wanted to talk about, right? We talked about how the LED strips right now are using still the version 1 binding, and there's a good reason for that. So let's go back to the configuration. My LED strip items, right? So every LED strip I have, in this case, that's the on-suite LED strip controller, has several topics, right? It has the topic for state. Basically, that's how I receive information about. Well, that's how I'm sorry. That's how I send the command to the LED strip to turn it on and set different states for. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean that's how I set the states for the thing. For the LED strip. Then I have a power topic, which I only use for turning the LED strip on and off. I have the effects topic, which I use to turn on different effects of the LED strip. And then my color, speed, and intensity topics are just specific topics for those 3 configuration items. So the thing that the version 2 binding doesn't do yet, and it's kind of important for me to for it to do that, is transformations on the output side, on the output topic going to the device. That is a feature that didn't make it into version 2.4 with the binding at version 2.4. So let me explain why I need this, right? If you don't know what a transformation does, you can use a map transformation, or you can use a JSON transformation. There's a couple other ones, regular expressions and a couple other types, to take a value that you send to the item and convert it to something that the device understands. So in my case, when I send a power command to the LED strip, I'm taking that command from the item. I'm going to map in this file, the LED strip effect JSON, and let me go to the transform LED strip effect JSON map. So this map file here has every item value that I send to it is converted to a JSON string that corresponds to, in this case, the effect that I want to set on the LED strip, or state, the power for the LED strip. So if I send an on command, if I just send an on string to the MQTT topic for my LED strip, it won't do anything. It won't understand that. I have to send state equals on with with the JSON formatting in order for the LED strip to understand that. So it's very easy to use the map file to convert item values to predefined JSON strings like this. And the problem is the MQTT version 2 binding does not do that yet. You can't. There's a workaround. You can do it using rules, but really, I don't want to deal with the workaround, knowing that with version 2.5, this map transformation or transformations in general on the output topic are going to be working again. So yeah, so that's the reason really I haven't converted to version 2.0 or version 2.4 of the MQTT binding yet. I'll wait till probably the next milestone build comes out for openHAB 2.5. There's a couple other things that I know are fixed in that second milestone, so I'm going to wait for that milestone to come out before I switch to it. And then I'll convert all my devices to that milestone. Okay. So Kenneth asks, what kind of LED strip do you use? I use a just a regular WS2812 strip. So these are WS2812 LEDs hooked up to my LED controller. So that's basically running Broad Automation's code. Broad Automation made these LED strips, LED strip controllers a couple years ago, probably at this point, and everyone's been using some variation of that design. So I kind of took that one. I know Dr. Z's added a couple effects. Rob from the hookup added a few, and I added a few of my own. So basically, this LED strip here has like 37. I'm looking at the map right now. 37 different effects. So that's what I've been using. Cool. All right, so let's go back. We're at an hour right now, so I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. I want to get through the main topics of discussion, right? So we added the things, we added the channels. We go back to configuration. We have our things. Things have channels. So what's the next step we need to do? Next step is we need to create items for these things and for these channels, so we can actually control the devices or get data from them. So in order to do this quickly, I'm just going to basically use Paper UI. And you know me, I know if you've seen my videos, I mean you know that I prefer the file-based configuration, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to basically run through and create items for the things using paper UI. So let's say cube laundry. Oh, I'm sorry. Laundry. This is an item name. Cube temperature. The label will be laundry temperature. Category. That's the icon, I think. Nope, that's not how you spell temperature. Yep. And then the item type is going to be a number. We know that. That's it. So I added that item. I'm going to add another one for cube laundry. No. Humidity. This is humidity. And again, this is a number item. And let's just add the switch item for the Sonoff. Right? So Sonoff switch item. Probably, I'm not following good convention there, but we're just doing a quick test here. So let's do switch. And it is a switch. So there. So I have all my items added to the device, or to openHAB, I mean. And now when I go into control, if I did everything correctly, I should have them here. Let me refresh that. They should be linked. Oh, they're not. I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed a step. This is why I don't use paper UI usually, yet at least. All right, here we go. Laundry temperature. Okay, so that's I fell into my own trap basically. I created an item, right? I created an item, named it, and did everything, but I didn't link it to anything. I didn't link it to the channel on the actual thing. So learn from my mistakes. I basically created a rogue item that's not connected to anything, and obviously it's not going to have any data within it, or it's not going to be even displayed on the control page because it's not linked to a channel. So let's go back to it. All right, so now I'm going to go to laundry temperature, edit it, and no, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna let me go back here. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to things. And this is what I need to do. I need to click on the actual thing, and now I can link the channels from here. So link the channel, default, yep. And I want to link it to, which one is this? The temperature, right? Laundry temperature, link, channel linked, humidity, laundry cube humidity, link. Okay. Bam. So now these two channels are linked. Let's go back and link our Sonoff switch. It's not letting me scroll. Hey, come on. Okay. All right, and Sonoff, I have my power switch, so I'm going to link that to, where was it? Sonoff switch item. There we go. Link. Okay. And now, because I have all my things and their channels linked to actual items, I can go to control. And there it is. There's cube sensor laundry. Laundry temperature is 66.42, and humidity is 27.9. My on-off switch items here. So when I click this, I don't know if you're hearing it, and you can hear it, and then you can also see it. Bam. So yeah. So just to recap, right? We installed the MQTT version 2 binding. We created things for the broker and the two devices I wanted to convert to version 2 at this point. So a cube sensor and a on-off switch. And then we created the channels for the values that are linked to those devices: temperature, humidity for the cube sensor, power status and power command for the on-off. And then we linked items to them, and we were able to see them and control them from our control screen. So I think that's pretty much everything I want to go over. You know, like, I mean, that kind of gives you an idea, I hope, about how to use this version 2 binding, I hope. But you know, let me bring it up to you guys. Anything else? Anything else that you guys can think of? Any questions or comments? Dustin says this has been great. Thank you. Okay, awesome, great. That's what I was hoping for. I was, you know, I know I was kind of losing my train of thought somewhere there in the middle. I think I'm still new to this live stream thing. You know, I get to record my videos in the comfort of my own privacy, I think, so it's easier to make mistakes and start over. So doing the live stream thing is a little nerve-wracking for me still. This is going to stay posted so I can go back over it. Yes, absolutely, Dustin. I will. I'll do a couple things. I'm thinking I'll start by adding labels to the different sections of this live stream, so nobody, you know, so people don't have to watch the whole hour. You'll just be able to click between the different sections that I go over, like adding a thing, adding the channel, and then probably at some point when I get time, I'll pull this live stream down and condense it into, you know, something more like a 5 to 10 minute video, just going over the most important stuff and all in one flow, so people can rewatch that as well. Okay. Cool. While I have you guys here for your attention as well, wanted to show you one other cool thing on the forums, right? So first, I started posting the whole openHAB basics tutorial, including all the slides that I used in my videos, up on the community forums. So basically, search for openHAB basics, and you can see, you know, you can go back over the videos that I created for the openHAB basics tutorial. So that's one thing I want to show you, right? The other is, let's see, I don't see it here. Let's search for it. Next gen. So David Graff, right? Who's one of the developers here, who is the developer of the MQTT binding, has pretty much taken on the task of coming up with openHAB version 3 paper UI. So paper UI, like, I mean, you saw me going through it here. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect, I think, right? I mean, there's a reason people like me prefer going to, you know, text files and doing everything from Visual Studio Code, right? I mean, part of it is nostalgia probably in dealing with text files, you know, all my life for configuration, and just having a natural distrust to web pages or web UIs. But I think, if the paper UI was slightly better, I think a lot more people would use it for just day-to-day configuration of their system. So David has taken on the task of coming up with a next generation design basically for the paper UI. He's posted this next generation design paper UI design study link. So if you search for this link, actually let me post that here as well. So if you click on that link, if you click on this forum post, you can read through the article that he wrote. But then if you go to the link at the end of the post, he basically has a working, functional, notional layout for paper UI version 3, right? Or openHAB version 3 and the paper UI as well as he envisions it being looking in the next version. So there's a lot of pretty cool things already that he's implemented here. Maintenance pages, configuration pages are different. There's a completely different layout for things like inbox, and searching for things in the bindings is much easier. Just configuration of the add-ons is much simpler too. Thing configuration and item configuration are a lot simpler too. And then one thing that kind of is missing from the openHAB configuration in version 2 is this scheduler. So you can basically start your own schedules, right? So for example, in this case, this is a garden schedule, right? So garden watering schedule. So he's got basically a page where you can define the number of times you're gonna you water your garden, the days, and basically a schedule for watering your garden. Build your cron expression. So stuff like this used to be possible with rules, right? You had to set up your own cron rules, time-based rules. I think with what David's trying to do here, you can essentially use the UI to do this naturally, right? So check that out. And then yeah, cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about real quick, or I think we had a pretty good live stream. Pretty good topic to talk about. Mosquito version 2 binding. If you have any other ideas, check. Talk to me on Discord or comment on the videos. Obviously, for those of you that aren't on the Discord server yet. Tasmota support. Okay, Neil. Tasmota supports the extended homey format and therefore could support auto detect. It would be great if you could trial this. Okay, you know what? I'll do that. I'll probably have to do it offline because I need to check that configuration out. I don't want to bumble through that with you guys watching me live. So I'll spend some time and research that. And then I'll let you know. And Neil, are you in the Discord server? I think you are. I think you joined, right? For those of you that haven't, let me just post the link real quick too. So I'll invite you guys to the server. Okay. That's the Discord invite for those of you that aren't on there. Link to the LED strips, Charlie. Sure. That is in my BKPSU. So, yep, this is my fork of it. I have links to the videos that I created for them. Here's the link to the actual GitHub, and then for the enclosure, that's on Thingiverse. So I'll post that link as well. ACT Storm, Discord. Okay, cool, Kat. I love the fact that the Discord server has grown to over 100 people in just a short time. That's awesome. I think we have a really cool community starting up there. Cyber ISSO and I have been talking about the next generation of the cube sensors. Kind of a few ideas I've had about those for a while. So we're working on those. Yeah, cool. Well, all right, guys. So I guess I'll probably stop it here for now. We'll probably do another live stream sometime soon if we have a topic. I'm working on the next rules video as well, the next openHAB basics video about rules, because I know that was a big topic, and I'm almost finished with that one, so that should be posting hopefully next week. So just to give you an idea of what's coming. So thank you all for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me in the live stream. Thanks for being subscribers to the channel, and thanks for supporting the channel. So to everyone, I don't want to say good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. This is VK Hobby. Thank you.